What's up, guys? Swift here, and we have some breaking news as we've hired another coach, Thomas Brown, to be our offensive passing game coordinator. I was already in the middle of editing a video breakdown, breaking down day one of the Senior Bowl coverage, but I had to break this news on the new coaching hire. After hiring my favorite wide receiver coach, Chris Beatty, yesterday, I didn't get to talk about that because we were on the road, but we had that news break yesterday, and they've now hired Thomas Brown to be our passing game coordinator. He's the former Panthers offensive coordinator, and now the Bears are just have two guys who have called plays previously in the NFL, and both were calling plays last year. Shane Waldron and Thomas Brown were both experienced play callers, and when I came into this offseason, that is the number one thing I wanted most from our coaches, an experienced play caller. And we got not one, but two. And one of them happens to be Shane Waldron, who I think is one of the best play callers in the NFL. And then meanwhile, I want to give a little tidbit about Thomas Brown here. A lot of people gave him the blame for the Panthers' early season struggles. He was not the play caller. Frank Wright was actually calling plays for them early in the season. Thomas would then call plays for 3 weeks before Wright took play calling duties back until he got fired mid-season. A very Matt Nagy-esque move. Thomas Brown is now our new passing game coordinator. He worked closely with Sean McVay. Check the graphic out back here and my previous video for more information about him. But he believes in egoless play calling, a process that takes ego out of calling plays, something that our previous coordinators could have taken a lot of notes from. He's another up-and-coming coach in the NFL, and he just adds to Shane Waldron's offensive staff. This is big news to me, guys, especially when you pair it with yesterday's hire of Chris Beatty, who's one of the most respected wide receiver coaches out there, and he was DJ Moore's wide receiver coach in college. This is awesome. The Bears are clearly cooking something up on offense, and I'm excited about what is happening in this coaching room. But all this is happening while I'm down at the Reese's Senior Bowl with my man Vil, helping me out with the recording and editing. Let's get right into it.
What's up, guys? Swift here, covering everything from the 2024 Reese's Senior Bowl live down in Mobile, Alabama. Today I watched and took in every single bit of practice, and I have more notes than I can share in a single video. Today I have a few players that I watched even more closely. The guy I was most highly anticipating seeing stole the show today. My number one target and the guy I planned on covering down here was Oregon center Jackson Powers Johnson. He made a case that he might not only be the best center in the draft, but look like the best interior lineman at the entire Senior Bowl. His ability to anchor against the bull rush is a must-see. I had a chance to speak with JPJ and will be sharing that interview when I can. Next up on my list of guys that really stood out today was Georgia wide receiver Ladd McConkey. His route running and agility is perfect for the slot position in the NFL. He tends to get lost in this deep class of wideouts, but he definitely got the attention of some of the scouts on hand today. Another receiver that really caught my eye was North Carolina's Tez Walker, another guy I spoke to personally. He can flat out fly. He clocked in at over 21 miles per hour in full pads today, which was really impressive. He also showcased his ability to get open on multiple occasions. He would have had an even better day if not for a drop. Tez is another dynamic receiver talent who is being overlooked in this year's incredible class. I also got a chance to speak to Brendan Rice today. At one point in practice, he had 3 straight touchdowns in the red zone drills, and he just looked great to me. He actually looked bigger than Xavier Legette as well. Check out my brief interview with Rice I posted earlier today as a YouTube short. I'll be talking more about receivers like Xavier Legette, Javon Baker, Roman Wilson, and plenty of others going forward. But today there's one more guy who is just super electrifying that I have to talk about. It was Arizona receiver Jacob Cowing. I heard people calling him this year's Tank Dell. And while I'm not going for that, he was electric today, and his route running looked seriously crisp. In my preview video I dropped last night, I mentioned how talented the national team was offensively, and it showed up on the field today. Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. were not perfect, but they led their offenses to way more fireworks than the other team could. The American team just was not as crisp. Michael Pratt, Spencer Rattler, Joe Milton, they all had good moments, but all of them struggled with consistency. And this just led to a lot more incompletions and plays made by the defense when the American team was practicing. I have a ton of footage and notes to go over, but it's clear that there's a ton of talent on the field this year, and I'm super excited about this upcoming draft class. I spent a few hours today just 10 to 15 feet away from both Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham. Huge that Ian is staying another year in Chicago. I'll talk more about that later, but staying busy down here in Alabama covering the Senior Bowl. Thanks so much to everyone who watches. I apologize, I don't have my normal equipment with me. I got my guy Vil from the 3 Point Stands podcast down here helping me film, edit, and record. Appreciate you guys. Please stay tuned for more content. And until next time, bear down.